Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Sunday, baby. That's it. It's Sunday. Officially, is that like the first day of the week? For many years in the work that I did, Monday was classed as like the first day of the week, but then some people would consider it the last day of the week, and I don't know why we're still talking about whether Sunday is the first or last day of the week or not. You're looking absolutely amazing. I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes. Later on, I will be going live, or we'll be going over all of the situation around two missing children, Lily and Jack, in Nova Scotia. It's a bit of an odd one, but we'll be going all over it, looking at some of the posts that's been made online through the likes of Book of Face and Twitter and all of those sort of places. So join me if you want to speak on that case. But in this one, we're just talking about the 911 call, as I still keep getting emails referencing the 911 call, and it kind of split the room. You know, some of the emails I receive are like calling me names and saying that I shouldn't make any comments on the 911 call because I weren't there and I don't know what it's like. I do, however, know that if you're in a house and you feel that someone has been attacked or in danger, then the best thing to do is call 911. But there we go. Oh, yeah, and I've got glasses on, if you didn't notice, because apparently I'm blind now. So, yeah, that's another brilliant thing about getting older. But just ignore them. Like I say, not sunglasses or fashion glasses. We're not as cool as the likes of, you know, inebriated cock show and places like that. I actually have to wear these or I can't see. But anyway, this is what I want to do. Look at this, because we're going to look at this 911 call together just one last time and just put the reason why so many people struggle with the 911 call. And if you just listen to it, and what you have to do, not only listen to it, but think about the scenario around it and what led to that call. I've spoken about it before, haven't I? About the first domino that fell that would then trigger the momentum to get a call. Because generally, if you're in a house and you're scared and you've seen someone laying on the floor, you think they've passed out, but you've seen someone who shouldn't be there carrying a vacuum cleaner, possibly. They might be a fireman or in a fireman's outfit, possibly. Bushy eyebrows, possibly, even though it would seem that they didn't think, the witness that is, didn't think they had bushy eyebrows. They just succumbed to being told that they may have seen bushy eyebrows. Who knows? But no 911 call was made then. No, none whatsoever. But then there was a 911 call later that was made, and I don't even to this day know why it was made. Not if you factor in that apparently during this call, that is where everybody finds out, or someone finds out, what is apparently going on. But I want you to listen to this and listen to this closely while we just touch on it. Because this is Como News, and they have, over the last few hours, just done a video on the Idaho 4. I'll leave the link to this video in the description of my video so you can go and watch the whole thing. We're not going to watch the whole thing, do not worry. It's 23 minutes long, and I know it's Sunday. But let's have a listen to this, right?
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
So first of all, first issue, something is happening. The person on the call is crying, right? The person on the call is crying, and they're basically saying that something is happening, something has happened, and they're already upset, which to me, that would mean that at the point where the call is being made, that person already knows that something has happened. That person has already seen something. Therefore, the 911 call has been made. The 911 call is being made, and that person is already seemingly already upset. So it's not that they don't know what's going on yet, and they're yet to learn that something is going on. There is something already going on, and potentially they feel there's a potential that something is still going on. There's still something going on, which brings two questions, and I'll just come up on the screen. And that you have to consider, okay, then, so was this 911 call at the time which we're being led to believe it was? Now, you could turn around and say, well, of course it is. But then the flip side of that coin is if you want to trust everything in this Idaho 4 case as a whole, then you must trust, for instance, the DNA. The DNA that was supposedly found on the knife sheath that went through different laboratories. The CODIS issue where, they couldn't enter another sample of DNA into CODIS because there was already one, and that sort of bollocks. But what I'm getting at is you can't pick and choose what you trust. You either trust everything or you trust nothing. You trust that the entire case has been handled correctly and as it should. So then the call is right. But then the flip side of that coin is if you can question the DNA and think, well, hold on a second, they could have just got his DNA and planted his DNA into this situation and said that's the guy. Do you know what I mean? Which then, if you're not willing to believe that, then you must then question the integrity of the 911 call and something as simple as the time of the 911 call. But look, I know it's tinfoil hat, and I get it. The issue that I have is that if we're led to believe that this crime happened at approximately 4:15 a.m., there or thereabouts, and then this call happened 8 hours later, it's clear that the person who made the call, the person on the call, is upset, so they have prior knowledge of what they're calling for. We'll carry on. I have to make sure that I bring it up on screen. You wouldn't believe how many videos I've done where I've just sat there then playing it and I thought, well, I ain't even on the screen.
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
The energy is everywhere. They don't know how to react.
Tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out.
Issue 2. So one of the roommates has passed out. So you then have to go back again to the people who were called to come over. What do you think? I want you to, all these questions that I ask, I want you to let me know in the comments down below what you think happened during these different, this chain of events, if you like. Because what do you have? You have the murder itself, you have the aftermath. You then have communication between the house and an external person. That external person then comes to the house for a reason. What is the reason what they're given? So tell me down below, what's the reason? Why is someone called to come over to the house? Because if you're in the house, if you're Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk and you think, right, so we saw Xana, she was passed out on the floor or believed that she was passed out. So then what happens when they're finished texting, messaging, putting Eric Gower's number in, applying for a job, and all these sort of things, what do? They then succumb to the idea that everything's fine. So they then come back out and walk back out and then see Xana in the doorway again, still laying in exactly the same position. Then what happens? At that point, do you believe that they would literally think, oh, I'm not gonna say or do anything now. I'm not gonna go near her. I'm not gonna go and check if she's all right because it's clear that she's not. How does that play out? The bit between the roommates coming out of their rooms potentially and seeing something and then deciding to get someone external to the property over to the property. There's that missing gap. What was the reason that you called somebody else over to the property, please? I would like you to explain to me the chain of events that would lead to you ringing Hunter, for instance, or Hunter's girlfriend and telling them to come over to the property. What was the thought process behind them? Because from what it looks like you knew something had happened. I'm not going to go into the weeds with that right now, but it looks like you knew something had happened. There's a potential that the front door was then opened in the hope that someone would come in and find it and you could become disjointed from this situation and be like, oh my God, we've been asleep. We don't know what was going on, or we've been doing other stuff. We didn't even know. Do you know what I mean? That kind of detachment from the murders, if you like, which that to me is a red flag. That's red flag number 1. Well, there's a lot of red flags. It's like a poppy field of red flags. This is, and like this lady here in this video, she turns around and says the energy was all over the place. Upset. 122. What's the rest of the address? King Road. And then back. It's very up and down, up and down. Look, some people could be right. The energy would kind of be over everyone. I'm not saying that that's not normal, because is there a normal way of handling this situation? The issue that I have with this situation is I want to know the full chain of events, what happened and what led to this call. But let's carry on.
And she was drunk last night and she not wake me up.
They're still in this level of denial of what's actually transpired in their home.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
The way that was that and they saw that was almost like, remember I mentioned the person who come over, remember, do you know what I mean? That's what I get to me. That this is like, it feels like a rehearsed call and someone is having a prompt in the background. Remember I mentioned that, remember I mentioned about that person. And I think if you believe that Xana is just passed out and it's to do with drink or whatever, and there is nothing beyond that, you've got no idea what's going on, you just think, then what relevance would that person? Why would you automatically go back to that person and bring that person up in the first place? You've got to, in your mind, you've got to have put that person with that scenario together somehow. And how would you do that unless you have prior knowledge of what has happened before you make the 911 call? And again, my issue isn't the fact that they may have known. It's why were there lies around the 911 call? Why is this call made to sound like nobody knew what was going on up to the call, and then it all starts to unfold then? And again, as aforementioned previously, we have spoken on the fact that Xana Kanodel's door was originally said to be shut, which would have answered a lot of these questions. But with that door open, it seemingly now throws that entire situation into utter chaos. But let's carry on.
Yeah.
At first, the police came out and said there was nothing suspicious about it.
Can I just tell you what?
At first, the police came out and said there was nothing suspicious about it. I don't understand that. Did you hear that? What was going on there? Let me know down below what you think. Was that talking about someone else? But on the screen, you'll see, can I just tell you what happened, pretty much? Like, they're trying very hard to push this story of this individual. And that, to me, is evidence of knowledge. Now, this isn't about saying that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk were involved in the murders themselves. This is trying to ascertain whether they knew what had happened prior to the 911 call being made. And if they did, how long before the 911 call was made did they know that there were people inside that property gravely ill, gravely dead, just deceased? Especially when you hear the verbal typo, Freudian slip, if you like, of Steve Gonsalves talking about Ethan Chapin, dead, dying, gone. He literally says that. The Hunter comes in and sees Ethan Chapin, his friend, dead, dying, gone. What is it? Is he fucking dead or is he dying? Do you know what I mean? And it's all of these little things. The devil's in the detail. And there's some details that just raise some hellish questions.
Happened pretty much.
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
The dispatcher doesn't want to hear about what they think happened. They want to find out if we can actually save this life.
I don't really know, but
So they've literally been asked, what's going on now? They're trying to tell this story. The dispatcher, the 911 person, their sole purpose at this point is to ascertain exactly what is going on now, what imminent help is required. Is there something that I can instruct you to do to protect somebody's life if it's in danger, or who do I need to get to you? So I need to know what is going on now. And they are too busy trying to tell you about what happened hours ago. To them, that's what's important, and that's the telltale sign. Because if you was a genuine person and it was your friend who was gravely ill, there was something wrong, your main focus would be getting them help. And at this proportion of this call, that is not this caller's primary function at this point. This is to give you a story, to tell you the important part to them. I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to.
So if you think of that, so they've been requested to go and check. So this is like, well, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. So again, affirmation during the call that they're claiming that they don't know what's going on. And someone has said, obviously we need to go and check. So someone in the background, what have they said to them to say, but we have to? We have to, what they said, no, fuck that, I ain't going to check. I ain't going to look, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Again, these little elements are strange. I don't want to go and look. It's almost like someone would have said, I ain't going. I'm not going in there. I'm not doing anything. And again, if it's just about Xana being passed out potentially from drink, why would anybody have a reluctance to go and check on Xana? Was Xana that much of a horrible person that nobody wanted to go and check to make sure that she was okay? It doesn't make sense. This is these little things and why I question and continue to question the 911 call.
There was somebody in the house at 4 a.m.?
She's passed out. She's passed out. What's wrong?
See, is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? It's again, this is disconnecting. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Is she passed out? Is she passed out? And I can pull this call to pieces. Like I say, I will leave the link to that video in the description. And if you haven't listened to this call and really listened to it and gone over it, you need to, because you need to try and understand what is happening in this call, the timing of this call, the people around this call, the people who are involved in seemingly the discovery of what happened without any explanation as to why the call was made in the first place. These little tidbits of someone being asked to go and check if someone's passed out, again, the affirmation of, well, we don't know if they're passed out, and someone seemingly says, well, I'm not going in to check. And I could be wrong, but why would somebody turn around and say, we need to go and check? And it's like, no, there's a gap, but we need to. We need to go and check. We need to do what they're saying for us to do on the call because we have to do what we're being told. And why is it that the caller's primary kind of concern or worry is to get the story across about this guy who seemingly came into this house at a certain time? That to me, again, it shouldn't at that point of it would have been an afterthought. Now is about helping Xana, and don't even get me started on the fact of what this scene. I've been sent crime scene pictures, not from the Idaho 4 case, but some people who deal with crime scenes have sent me images of rooms where this kind of thing has happened, and not even to this extent when we've been told about certain injuries that have been sustained by Ethan and Xana. That room would have been a fucking shit show, an absolute shit show, and yet there is not one single mention of it. And if people want to say, well, Hunter walked in and Hunter saw it and, you know, he shielded everybody from it, I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I'm genuinely not buying it. I believe, and this is only my opinion, is that long before that 911 call was made, people knew exactly what had happened in that house. The question for me is, why did it take so long still to call 911? And yeah, and who helped them get through that call? Who was telling them how to handle that call and what to say? Let me know down below what you think about this call, and whether you think that we're just reading into it too much and need to leave it alone. Love you all. Mwah.